Hi everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Makeup Education and You. Today I'm going to be doing a first impression and wear test on a foundation that I've heard a lot about. I don't know about you, but I'm starting to really not trust anybody on the internet about what they say about different products because I feel like everyone is sponsored and I just don't know who to trust. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to be trying to today. I'm going to be trying the e.l.f. Soft Glam foundation, the Satin foundation, and this color is not the color I ordered. I ordered the color 11 Fair Neutral, and I got 13 Fair Neutral. But because I can only avoid the sun so much in LA, I hope that this will be a match. But it should be close and I'll get an idea for the feel of the foundation itself. But people are talking about this like it's the holy grail of foundation, and maybe it is. Maybe it's not. We'll see. One of the big things with drugstore foundation is they tend to break me out a lot. And the only drugstore foundation that I've found that does not break me out is the Milani Conceal and Perfect. And that's why I recommend it so heavily, is because it does not break me out. Now, when I look at the ingredients of this, it doesn't have alcohol in it, at least that I saw in like a brief glance. And that's a huge component of it. But how will it wear? How will it like sit on my skin? How will it, will it break me out today or tomorrow? We'll have to see. So I'm going to go through the steps like I normally would. I'm going to give it a fair chance because it would be ridiculous, in my opinion, to try it on in a way that I don't wear my foundation normally. So I'm just going to go ahead and try it on, and we'll see how it wears through whatever I decide to do today. Also, I spent a lot of time doing my makeup last night, and I feel really proud of myself. So let's have a little sip of coffee. And get to getting. I also have a primer that I want to try, but I don't want to do the two at the same time because I want to get the results of each. So this is the MAC. Which one is this? This is the MAC Studio Fix Mattifying 12-Hour Shine Control Primer. This one is very expensive. I think it's $40, but it really, really works for shine control, oil control. If you find that you have some breakdown in your products throughout the day. Now, I also don't mind the Smashbox Photo Finish and like a really thin coat, but I'm still kind of um, getting used to using it again, and I have found that I really like using this product. So, especially in conjunction with the One Size Blur Primer. So I'm going to let that soak into the skin. The key with the primers that I found is to let it soak into the skin, just like the moisturizer and everything. I wanted to mention before I put my primers on, I cleanse my face, I moisturize my face, and I let everything soak in so that as I'm putting my foundation on, it has the best chance of sitting on top of my skin. Because the thing is, the foundation, unless it's like even serum foundations don't soak into your skin, so how it lays on top is really the key, right? And even a lot of primers are going to lay on top of your skin because they want to provide that smoothing effect or whatever effect that you want. So now I'm going to use the One Size to cure the blur. And I'm just going to apply a little bit of this to areas where I have more texture, which is kind of my whole face. Well, this is a very thin primer, and you just need a little bit because it goes a really long way. And I know everyone says that, but it really does. And I have a lot of texture, so this takes a minute. So I already have like a little breakout the edge of my nose. So something to keep in mind when I'm doing my end of day wear is that it's already I already have a breakout there, so I can't blame the foundation for that. So again, we're going to let that soak, and then we're going to come in with a damp beauty blender. You can apply your foundation however you want. For me, beauty blenders are just so consistent, and that's how I apply my liquid foundations pretty consistently. So let me go get a damp beauty blender and let this soak in, and we'll get started. Now we have our foundation, and we're going to crack the seal on this bitch. Um, so I hope it's as good as everyone says it is. It's just so hard to tell because I just don't feel like I can trust anyone. Because there's so many foundations that I've tried that people have been like, it's amazing, it's perfect, it looks like the Evangelista. And then I try it and I'm like, really? This is this is the foundation or the whatever? And I just don't, and maybe it's just not good on my skin, or maybe it was all high, I don't know. So always making sure that your foundation is mixed in the bottle. You never know how long it's sat on the shelf. So in something like this, you can kind of just squish it around, or you can shake it, anything like that. And then on a palette, so this did not come, so it was taped up, which makes me feel better, but it did not come with a seal on the top, and it looks like some product has already been squeezed out a little bit. So I'm wondering if it was, I mean, unless someone like delicately, like, it doesn't look this sticker was like tampered with, so maybe they didn't have that little peel security, like secondary security over it. But it just makes me wonder. So I'm gonna start with a amount, kind of like a little bit larger than a pea. We're gonna see how this covers. Now, even though this is darker than the shade that I got, it is still like my body is still very light. So it's something to consider because I usually wear my foundation fairly light. This is a very thin foundation compared to what I normally wear. Um, the Milani Conceal and Perfect does have a lot more coverage. However, it does, at least on camera, look a lot more like skin. Um, we can see that there's that kind of like satin finish. I would definitely agree that it has a satin finish. And satin is kind of just a makeup word for skin like. Matte's going to give you that kind of ultra like non-reflective. Matte's great for blurring and you know, a lot of people like that matte look. I kind of prefer a matte look in general because it hides a lot of texture, which I have a ton of. I have an abundance of texture. Um, and then there's kind of like a luminous finish. You'll see kind of things like that say like luminous, and those have a lot more shine to them. This has some shine, but it's not so much that you look like oily and greasy. However, if you are on the oilier side, these types of products can be a little tricky later in the day when you do start to get oily, because then they either break down or they just can't control your oil anymore. So I kind of have done half of my face at this point. I would say it gave a really natural coverage to just kind of like the under eye area, a very natural kind of even tone to everything. But in areas like this where I have a little bit of natural redness, it's not really covering it that well. So if you have any breakouts, like right here, it's not really doing anything to cover it up. Now, I know there are tricks to conceal under your foundation, so that you don't have to worry about that. But this is a fairly light to like light medium coverage foundation. But it's sitting on my skin very nicely. It's so weird to have this little coverage, admittedly. I'm like, I don't know about this. So I would say that probably my face takes about 4 pea-size amounts of the coverage. And so what I do is I pump it onto either my hand a um or a what are those things called? What are they called? Why is my brain not working? Or a palette, and then I go in with my beauty blender and I kind of start tapping it out. I don't like to apply foundation and really any product directly to my face from the tube. I just find that you get way too much product. It looks crazy. It's a lot harder to control. It makes things a lot patchier. And for me, that's just not the tea. So, I think that putting it on another surface and then kind of blotting it out a little bit with beauty sponge or whatever you're using, and then going on your face, is a lot easier to control, and then you can get that even coverage. This really is beautiful on the skin. I think if someone was doing like a natural beauty, makeup for any event or anything like that, this does look very nice. We'll have to see how it wears. Also, I have more problematic skin, than some people, so some people might be able to wear it even if I'm not able to wear it. So just something to consider. Even if the wear test fails on me, doesn't mean that it will wear on it or will fail on you. But this gives like a really natural, beautiful finish. I know it looked really light when I started putting it on, but I would say that this is a fairly good match. For me, I need to go with a neutral foundation because of my undertones, because I have a lot of pink tones in my skin, but I also pull really yellow. So I need something neutral. And I think that that's a good match. Actually, I'm glad I got the 13 instead of the 11. Now, both the 13 and the 11 are labeled as fair neutral, and when you go to the website, in the description of the color, both say fair with neutral undertones. So it's not particularly helpful, but they're clearly two different shades. One's darker than the other. So if, you know, color matching might be a little bit hard to find. It's $8 at Ulta right now, and they have, let's see, this is 5, 9, 9 times 4 is 36. They have 36 shades, ranging from a uh, 10, which is fair cool, which looks like a really light porcelain, to a which is this is 65, which is rich neutral. So it looks like the color range is like they're taking that very seriously. They also they carry it at Ulta. They also carry it at Walmart, and it looks like the price difference is negligible. So it's not like you're gonna like go to Walmart and pay a lot less than if you went to Ulta. Although it can depend if you go in person in Ulta and if you order online in Ulta, if there's like a lot of surcharges or something like that. So always check that. So I set my creams with powder, and I am going to do that even though I like the finish of this, and I kind of, um, you know, I kind of wish I didn't have to set it. I'm gonna only set it in the places where I get really oily, but I feel like I need to. I'm gonna go in with RCMA colorless powder after I do my concealer. I don't really feel like I need that much concealer, but for the look I want to do today, I want to apply some concealer. So that's kind of on a different note. So I'm going to take the Makeup Revolution and I'm going to go really light under the eye. And this is not how I typically like to apply my concealer. Again, for the look, I need to re-up on my concealer using a ton of it. Gonna go back in with that beauty sponge and just blend this out. Now, not only is it important how the foundation itself wears, but it's important to know how it plays with other things that you wear as well. But just because something doesn't work with a particular product doesn't mean it's the end of the world. However, it's important to know how things layer because it could be the best foundation in the world, but if you can't wear the products that you like to wear with it, then it's kind of a dud, right? Because if you can't set it, if you can't, do whatever, um, put some color on my nose. So all of those things are important to consider. Still gives a really nice luminous look, even like with the concealer on, which the concealer doesn't usually take any luminosity off. It's usually the powder that starts to mattify it, which is the purpose of the powder. So my main purpose is to apply the most powder in the places where I do get oily or I do crease throughout the day, and then I'll apply a little bit of powder all over after that. So I like to take my sponge. And if you have any creases, make sure to blend those out before you put powder on them, as to not cement them into your face for the rest of the day. Now, I'm wearing a lot of products that I know don't break me out. Did I do my neck? I don't know if I did I think I did like half my neck. Um, so make sure I do my neck so I don't look too crazy. So those are the spots, my T-zone, and I don't crease like crazy underneath my eyes, but I do crease a little bit, so that's why I'll bake underneath them. And then right around like my nose, I do crease, and then on my nose, it's kind of like a slip and slide where product will just like spread off, and I'm like, great, this is awesome. I love this. I love this from Strangely, right here, I lose a lot of foundation. So I'm gonna let that sit for a little bit, and then I will be back in a second to brush it off. So now, and this trick works for every skin tone, which I really like. I'm gonna take a colored foundation powder. Sorry, my brain was just like, no, no, we're not doing that. So to brush off the baking powder so that there is no flashback. If that was a concern for you, the RCMA powder does have far less flashback, if any flashback, depending on your skin tone and the lighting. So it's important to consider kind of what you're planning on doing. Are you going to have pictures with flash? Because that makes a big difference. So I'm just going to take this with the foundation powder on it, and I'm going to move off the rest of that powder with the other powder on it. Now at this point, we're starting to get more and more matte, and you can see that a lot of the luminosity that the foundation had naturally is going away because there's so much powder on top. And to me, that's okay because I want to kind of strategically put the powder or the shine where I want it. But if you wanted a skin like finish, you could skip this step and just brush off your bake and then do your makeup as normal, and you would still have a lot more luminosity. But for me, securing the base is so important because otherwise it's like building a house on a fault line. And if your base starts to crack and break up, everything else is going to. So that's why I consider it so important. So with what I'm looking at right now, I would say that this foundation looks really nice and even. I think that the natural luminosity of the finish is really, really nice. I don't think you need as much powder as I put on it, but I'm doing it for all day wear. And so I think that that is a huge part of it because in like 30 minutes, it's going to have all of that shine left to it. And even when I move my cheek like this, I mean, there's a bright light right here. Um, but even when I move my face like this, you can still see like a little bit of that kind of luminosity in there. And if I was wearing something like my Milani, like you wouldn't see that as much because it just doesn't have, it's made to be a lot more matte. So I think that you can still see a lot of that luminosity. So we'll have to see if that stays looking cute or if that starts looking oily, because I think those are two big differences between luminous foundations. And then we'll also have to see, do I break out through the day? Because that often happens with drugstore foundations for me. Or do I break out tomorrow? Because it happens. And if you are prone to breakouts, you don't want to spend your money again and again and again, like I have, to try to find a good drugstore foundation that's just going to break you out. So I'm trying to do this test for all of us people who tend to break out, who want to try to find some different foundations. So I'm gonna continue doing the rest of my makeup, and then we'll do the wear tests and see how things go. So I'm working on another makeup look, and I'm gonna have to touch this up. So I don't know if you can tell, but right here, and like the makeup is starting to break up. Even though it is powdered and set, it is so greasy. Like that's just like a clean finger just pressed into my forehead, and now I have a fingerprint on my forehead. It's gross. Um, and also I've noticed that, so if you recall, I baked kind of in this area, and the places where I didn't bake, the makeup looks very like the makeup was also breaking up. So maybe set really well, and if you're not oily, you might have a better time with this. But I'm already able to call that this is not going to be the makeup for me. I will check in and see if it causes me to break out, if I remember to, but I'm going to have to powder this. But I really wanted to film this so that you could see that if you were even the slightest bit oily, because I'm not super oily, but if you are even the slightest bit oily, no matter how you powder it, you might experience this. Seriously, a freaking fingerprint on my forehead. Yeah, so just want to let you know. So I have worn this makeup for about 4 or 5 hours thus far, and that is not that much time considering you might try to wear this to work. You might try to wear this, I don't know, out for a couple hours. Like it's I think told the story it needed to tell. I don't even know if I needed to do this part of the wear test, for me personally, but I will tell you that with adding the extra powder, I did notice some increase wear in certain aspects. So in my jaw area where it broke up the first time, I didn't have to go in and repowder and redo everything. However, it still doesn't have that much coverage, like for my breakouts and everything. It was relatively sheer going on, and it didn't really cover the breakouts, and it didn't do that this time either. So if that's something that you're looking for, I don't think you're gonna find it in this foundation. And I think I don't need to tell you how shiny this forehead is. So we're going to do the same test that we did. Now, I do want to say that, and be clear that I use my Coty Airspun, which that's my tried and true. It will mattify a lot of things down. It mattified a lot of this, which I mean, that's taking away the whole reason I think of this foundation, which is supposed to be like a more satin finish, a more skin-like finish, and I still get this kind of like really heavy kind of I'm trying to think of a word other than crusty. Like I'm getting this caked up look. I'm really getting like a lot of like cakiness right here where I know that there are other foundations that I could wear that would not be this cakey like throughout this whole process, whether or not I powdered like I did or not. So this there's a lot of factors for me that are telling me that this is not the um I don't know why I keep on like, there are a lot of factors for me that are telling me that this is not the foundation for me. And I feel like just putting it on, you would not be able to necessarily tell that it's going to break down or that you have to powder it as much as you do or that it's not going to, like, if you don't have things that you need to cover, that's great. Like you might find that it works for you if your skin's drier, and you're tired of matte foundations that just like suck the life out of your skin. I understand that. So this might be the foundation for someone. I love the fact that it doesn't have alcohol in it. I think that's a really, really great step, in the right direction. But for me, like, it's still so oily and so like I don't know, like my makeup came off when I did that. It can be touched up. A lot of powders and a lot of makeup will need to be touched up throughout the day. At least it didn't break up as much. It just happens to be very oily. But with the fact that it has other drawbacks, it wouldn't be worth it for me to keep going back and forth with all of this. So, for me, this is gonna be a no. It's a soft no. I would wear this if I didn't have other foundations and if I wanted this specific level of coverage. If you do want a more luminous finish, I'm sorry, my cat's like ready to play. Uh, he's like, why can't I do makeup, Dad? Um, if you do want a more luminous finish, I know that L'Oreal has some great options for luminous finish foundation. And you can also, they have some options for lighter coverage. If you don't want a ton of coverage that you have to maintain and all of that stuff, I understand that that's some people's like gig. Like I understand if that's what you want to do, then that's what you want to do. I just don't think that this foundation like hits all the points that I would like to see it hit. It's not bad, but it's not great. I'm gonna give it a 6 out of 10. Yeah, I'm gonna give it a 6 out of 10. 6.5. Let's do a 6.5. Okay, so I hope you like this review, like first impression, wear test review type thing. If you like the format, if you want to see more or less of one thing or another, let me know because I have a lot of opinions and I love letting people know them even if they didn't ask for them. So I hope you have a great day and I will talk to you later. Bye.